The world has always had heroes. Some may be more favored than others, but they'll always be there to protect us and inspire us. A godlike alien from space who loves humanity and seeks to emphasize its strengths. An orphan turned ruthless vigilante with a strict moral code and a strong sense of justice. And a teenage boy with bug powers trying to be a hero while also trying to get the girl and help out his parents. We've always loved a good superhero story. We've read the comics, we watched the cartoons, and we watched the movies, and we loved them with a passion. The superhero genre has swept the media, and over the past few years, it's caused fatigue in a lot of people with the amount of content studios want to push on consumers. Let's go back in time for a minute. From Burton's Batman and Donner's Superman, all the way up until Raimi's Spider-Man and Singer's X-Men, superhero movies were known and talked about, but they were mainly just popcorn flicks and to entertain comic readers. Then along came a teeny little film in 2008 called Iron Man that would change the industry forever. The MCU has become one of the most successful franchises in the world, with their movies landing spots in the Emmy nominations last few years and making billions of dollars per project. Rewatching the first phase, there's a big contrast to the way that these movies feel. In Phase 1, they feel like individual pieces of art and media made by different directors, each with their own style and, well, direction. While there were some hints at something larger eventually leading up to the Avengers, they all felt like separate entities that tell individual stories. Now, with Phases 4 and 5, it feels like too much of the same thing. No matter who Marvel brings on to work on said projects, it ends up filled with humor regardless of the intended tone, and is filled with constant references and setups for next projects.
But I'm tired of giving myself over to the idea of fate and trying to figure out what the universe wants from me. I want to live in the moment. I want to live like there's no tomorrow, throw caution to the wind. I want to be with you, Jane. What do you say?
I have cancer.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm sick.
What's happening?
Bye.
No, Jane.
What
Jane.
did I say? I didn't mean that. Just kidding. I don't have cancer.
Jane, none of us know how long we have. You don't know what tomorrow holds. And Mjolnir chose you. And it chose you because you're worthy. And that's something. When I first met you, I was unworthy. I was unable to pick up that hammer. But you taught me there is no greater purpose than to help those in need. You made me worthy. So whatever you want to do, we can do together.
Do you think those two will ever hold hands over a hot lava pool and make a Thor baby?
We don't even have time to sit and appreciate something when a good project does come out, because they keep pushing and pushing movies and shows down our throats, and I'm tired. There have been more MCU projects in the last 4 years than there was in the entire Infinity Saga. DC, on the other hand, is a completely different mess. I've always preferred DC to Marvel, and the older DC projects are so nostalgic and lovable. However, after the success of the MCU, DC decided that they needed to try and replicate that success with their own DCEU. It didn't go so well.
Wow, it's like a cave. Like a bat cave.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
DC has its own feel to Marvel, and that's one of the reasons we as fans like to separate the two. But by the time that DC realized that, it was kind of too late to save their already dying universe, and now it's being started over by James Gunn. I like James Gunn. The Guardians movies are some of my favorite superhero movies to date, and The Deletion Squad is an enjoyable movie. However, Gunn has a certain feel to him, and I'm not sure if he can match the feel of every one of these DC characters. Superman Legacy is the first project set to release in 2025, and I'm gonna give it a chance, I really am. But with the announcements of Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl and Metamorpho being in the cast, it really feels like they're trying to do too much too soon. And that young boy from Smallville, he just feels like he's instantly gonna be the big Superman character. I don't know, like, Superman is supposed to give hope and inspire others, so I'm gonna let him give me hope until proven otherwise.
Multiverse.
Remember when the multiverse was an original premise and we were all fascinated by it, seeing other versions of characters for the first time? Movies haven't stopped to think why the multiverse was successful and just keep pushing it in every single project. Stories can be as simple as the little guy standing up for what he believes in, but now they need to expand the multiverse in every single movie and every single show. And with every single time I see it, I get less and less fascinated. The first mainstream superhero film that used the multiverse, as far as I'm aware, is Spider Man Into the Spider Verse. It didn't push having to connect itself to a larger world or include 6,500 bajillion cameos. Sure, the alternate versions of Spider Man were cool and references to comics, but they were used to further push Miles' story further and teach him a lesson. After that, it seems like most stories having to deal with the multiverse use it not as a writing tool, but as a marketing tool to include pointless cameos and junk. Doctor Strange had great potential to use the multiverse to have Steven look at his alternate descents into madness and discover the man that he needs to be. But what was the point of the Illuminati other than to include Professor X in trailers and show the fan cast of John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic?
Our final number, Professor Charles Xavier.
The Ant-Man movies are goofy and bite-sized fun, but having Kang in the third movie? Kang is supposed to be the next big bad. I understand that the quantum realm has always had a bit of multiversal elements to it, but I feel like we can't take this character seriously if he's being beat around by Ant-Man. The Flash is a whole different kind of clusterfuck, roping in Batman, Kryptonians, and alternate Flashes all around a story about a grieving young man who can run fast and is dealing with the loss of his mother. We used to dream about Spider-Man and the X-Men teaming up, or Michael Keaton returning with the younger generation of DC superheroes, but it was just a fantasy, something we used to talk about on the playground. But now,
What was first just a dream has become a frightening reality.
I feel that with every movie that gets released, they try and follow the same format. Save the multiverse from collapsing, or introduce a new character and their power set. Sure, there's an occasional film or show now and then that I'll enjoy, but in my eyes, they lack that personal touch to the characters that they once had. We need like a Nightfall protocol with these films. Superheroes are brilliant, and I love them, but their legacy is becoming tarnished, and it's time for something new to take its place and captivate people the way that heroes once did so many years ago. The world will always have heroes, some more loved than others, but they'll always be ready to protect us and inspire us. The man from Smallville, the billionaire from Gotham, the kid from Queens. We've always loved a good superhero story. But maybe now it's time that we go our separate ways for a while. That doesn't mean that we won't see them again.
They'll come back.
You really sure about that?
I am.
Why?
Because we'll need them to.
We'll always need them.